Hey guys, hope you're well. So here we have they didn't write this on the piece of paper, but I just added it. I don't know why that wasn't there, but it's a grade 12 May-June maths literacy paper 1 exam. It's about 3 hours long and 150 marks. Check the description below if you want to download the paper. So with this question, we're going to start with this question down here at the bottom. Then we have a second question, a third question, a fourth question, number 5, and then a last one. So let's get started. So Yvette runs a small business from home. She makes and sells lunch packs for learners and delivers them to school during their lunch break. Okay, that's a really nice little business. She makes sandwiches and things like that, and she drops them off at schools. So table 1 shows the items per lunch pack and the respective cost prices. Okay, so for example, here we have some type of fruit juice. There are 24 in a box, but that's the bulk. That's to buy 24 of them. Of course, she's not going to give 24 to one learner. She's probably going to give 1 to each learner. So this is where you see the item cost, which is per lunch pack. Okay, and I mean, if you want to check it out, if you have 135 Rand and you have 24 boxes, then if you divide those two, then the price of one box, would be about 5 Rand 63. So, okay, and then for bread, if you want to buy 18 slices of bread, so like a normal loaf of bread, it's 13 Rand 99, but she only gives each learner 2 slices, and so that's going to be about 1 Rand 55, okay? So this is the cost of going into each, this is like the price for each learner, okay? And then this is what she pays when she buys everything in bulk. So the first question says, show how the cost of 1 yogurt. Okay, so here's yogurt. Now, have a look at this. In this yogurt, there are 6 yogurts in a pack. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've all seen that before. How much did it cost? 10 Rand 99. So what would the cost of 1 yogurt be? Well, you could say 10 Rand 99 divided by 6. And then that would be 1 Rand 83 per yogurt. 1 Rand 83 per yogurt, and that's exactly what they're getting over there. This question says, determine the maximum number of apples per bag. Well, here we go. They don't tell us how many apples there are. However, we do know that 1 apple is 2 Rand 87. Okay, so that's 1 apple. 1 apple is going to be 2 Rand 87. And we know that the total cost of the apple bag is 22 Rand 99 for the bag, per bag. So if you want to know how many apples you could get into, or how many apples you get in the bag, you could just say 22 Rand 99 divided by, or you could say divide by like that, it's up to you, 2 Rand 87. And if you work this out, and you're going to get 8.01, which is approximately 8 apples. The reason for it not being a perfect number is just that they probably used rounding off on some of those numbers. Okay, so it's approximately 8 apples that you are getting per bag. This next question says, show that the total cost to make 1 lunch pack. Okay, so what they're wanting us to work out here is like, how much does it cost for 1 learner? So here you've got this learner. Okay, so let's go draw a learner. Okay, and this learner is about to receive a lunch pack. Now, in that lunch pack, okay, that this learner receives, there's going to be 1 fruit juice. Okay, so there's going to be 1 little fruit juice, which is going to be 5 Rand 63. There's going to be 2 slices of bread, which is 1 Rand 55. I should say here 5 Rand 63 with a Rand. 1 slice of cheese, which will go on the sandwich, so that's 1 Rand 57. And then 1 apple, 1 yogurt, 1 sweet, they even get a little sweet, and then 1 FOMO tray. So that's just like the little tray that they use to carry everything. So that's 1 Rand 37. And if you had to go add that all together, you're going to get 18 Rand 36. 18 Rand 36 for each learner's lunch pack. This question says, the profit that Yvette makes per lunch pack is 16 Rand 64. Ah, okay, I understand. So remember, this is what Yvette is paying to, this is what she's paying to be able to create this at her house. Maybe she makes it at home. Oh, it did say she has a small little business from home. Okay, so for Yvette to make one lunch pack from home, that costs her 18 Rand 36. She then takes that to the school, and she doesn't give it to the school for free. She's a little business, so she has to make a bit of money. So they tell us that she makes a profit of 16 Rand 64. So how much does she sell it to the school for? Well, you can say 18 Rand 36 plus 16 Rand 64, and so the price that she sells it to the school, 35 Rand. 35 Rand. That is what Yvette sells each lunch pack to the school. So you see, the school gives her 35 Rand, and so 18 Rand 36 was the amount that she had to spend to make everything, the bread, the apple, the yogurt, to make each lunch pack. And then the 16 Rand 64 is the profit. That is the money that she puts in her back pocket because she's running a business, so she has to make a profit. Okay? So here this question says, define the term profit in the given context. So we all know what profit is. Hey guys, if you have something, let's say you have something that's worth 10 Rand. Okay, let's say you have a pencil. And you then go and, okay, wait, you go buy this pencil from the shop. You went to a shop, I don't know, P&A, Checkers, ShopRite, Pick and Pay, whatever shop you want to go to, it doesn't matter. You go to a shop and you buy a pencil for 10 Rand. You then go to your friend and you sell the pencil for 13 Rand. So how much money did you make? You didn't make 13 Rand. No, you made 3 Rand. That is called your profit. Okay? You can't say you made 13 Rand because remember, you had to spend 10 Rand to pay for the pencil. So you only made 3 Rand. So what is profit? Profit is the money that you make after all of your expenses. So in this context, we could say that profit is the difference between the selling price, which is this, remember, and the cost price, which is this, which we can then say which Yvette makes from selling lunch packs. So profit is the difference between the selling price and the cost price, which Yvette makes when she sells lunch packs. This question for 3 marks. Write down as a simplified ratio the bulk price of the 100% fruit juice to the bulk price of sweets. So the bulk price of 100% fruit juice is 135, and the bulk price of sweets, where's the sweets? 85. Okay, so how do we do this? It's very easy. What you do, I want you to think of any number that you can that can go into this one and it can go into this one. Okay, well, you could have thought of 5 Rand. So how many times does 5 Rand go into here? Well, you could say 135 divided by 5, and that'll be 27. Then you can do the same for this one. 5 Rand goes into there. 85 divided by 5, 17 times. Now, is there any number that can go into this one and this one? No, there is not. And so that is the final answer. Okay, so with this question, the questions will carry on. So this is the first one we're going to look at. And then there's a second, a third, and a fourth. Okay? So let's begin over here. It says that Yvette's lunch pack has the following bread roll options to choose from. So you can choose white bread, brown bread, or you can choose a bread roll. Okay, so white bread, a bread roll, and then we'd obviously have to go fill this in a little bit later. And then the bread or bread roll can be toasted or not toasted. Okay, so if you are a person who's about to get a sandwich or whatever, you can choose whether you'd like to have white bread, a bread roll, or this one here, which is probably going to be brown bread. Then after you've chosen that, you can then choose whether you would like to have it toasted or not toasted. Okay, does that make sense? So you could choose, for example, a bread roll, and then you could say that you don't want it to be toasted. Or you could maybe choose a white bread, and you say, I do want it to be toasted. So there's different ways you could order, okay? So this diagram, it says name the type of diagram. Whenever you have these branches like that, you see how I just said branches? We know that branches come from a tree. So we call this a tree diagram. This question says, complete the missing labels. Well, they tell us here that you can get white bread. They said you can get white bread, brown bread, or a bread roll. So here's white bread. Here's the bread roll. So this must be brown bread. Brown bread. Okay, now the way that these things work over here, let me explain. Let's say you choose this one. Well, that's a W. You see how they said white bread is a W? And then you choose toasted, which they said is a T. So if you choose this and this, that's WT. WT. Or maybe you decide that you would like to have white bread, but then you don't want it to be toasted. So that means N. So you're choosing W, N, and that's where they're getting that over there. I'll give you one more example. Maybe you want brown bread. Now, brown bread is a B, and then you don't want it to be toasted, so that's an N. So that's BN. You see how they do that? Okay, so we need to know what this one is. Well, where does that one come from? Well, we can work backwards if you want. We can go there and then there. So it would have been a bread roll, which is R, and then it was toasted, which is a T. So it's going to be, B is going to be RT, okay? And then A, let's just fill that in here as brown bread. Brown bread. This question says, write down the total number of outcomes. Well, these are called outcomes. It's like a result. So you could get a white bread with toasted, a white bread not toasted. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different outcomes. 6 different ways you can order your food. With this question over here, I would like to remind you that the questions do carry on. So here we've got 2 questions. And then we've got some more questions over here. So a company recorded the last, sorry, I don't know where I got the word last from. A company recorded the number of cell phones sold in 2 of their stores. Okay, store A, store B. Now the data for the last 12 months is given below. Okay, so for example, store A, they sold 120 cell phones in that month, 350 in that month, and then this is just store B. Okay. Now, it says here for the first question, identify the type of diagram. Well, remember, this is called a box, and then these are the whiskers. So we call this a box and whisker diagram. The next question, write out IQR. IQR stands for inter, quartile, and then range. This question says, state the median. Now, the median, remember, is the middle. So let me give you guys a little bit of a crash course on this over here. So this is called the minimum value. That's the smallest value. This is called the maximum value. It's the biggest one. This is the middle line here is called the median. This line over here is the Q1, or you might want to call it the lower quarter or quartile. Now, this line over here is the Q3, or another name is upper quartile. Okay, for any box and whisker, that you can always remember that. So it says state the median for store A. Here's the median. So we just have to read off this value. Okay, now it's directly between 260 and 280, so that is going to be 270. This question says, calculate the difference between the maximum and minimum value for store B. So for store B, that's this one here at the bottom now. We know that the maximum is this line over here, which is 440. And then the minimum is this line over here, which is 140. We can then subtract them. Minus 140. And that'll be 300. With this question, I know that you can't see everything very clearly, but I'm literally on the next page going to show you a much better version. I mean, look how nice that looks, okay? But I just wanted to show you this one because it says here that Bongiwe receives her levy statement of account from Rango Property Specialist for her her rented unit. Annexure A shows her statement of account. Okay, so here it is. I know you can't see it so nicely. So let's go to this page over here. Now, these questions are going to carry on. We've got our first question down here. Then we've got a second question, a third question, a fourth question, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. So this is a big question, okay? So hang around. Let's do this one together. So the first question says, write down the reference number that Bongiwe must use when she pays her account. Well, it says here, use the following reference number. So remember, they're giving this invoice to Bongiwe. She receives it, and suddenly they tell her here, use the following reference. So BGD 0016. So let's go write that down. BGD 0016. Just out of your own interest, what that means is that when she pays this company on the banking app that you use, or maybe she takes it into the bank, she needs to tell the people that she's paying, she needs to put this as a reference number. What that then does is when the people who receive the payment, they'll see BGD 0016, they'll look that up on their system, and they'll be like, oh, it's Mrs. Bongiwe Dlamini, and they know exactly who it is. Otherwise, they don't know who's paying them, okay? That is what a reference number is. It's an easy way for the company to understand where is this money coming from, who's paying it, okay? This question says, give one reason why reference number... So I just explained this. But give one reason why reference numbers are used when making payments. So we can just say that it makes it easier for companies to identify which client is paying into their account. Okay. This question says, calculate the missing value A, which has been omitted from the statement. Okay, so let's just quickly run down on how this all works. You see this column here, this tells you how much money you have in total, or how much money there is. So you see here we have 895, okay? I mean 894 Rand and 55 cents. Now when you go to the next row, so this row here, okay, just ignore this number for now. I want you to see, was there a debit or was there a credit? Well, there was a debit. So remember, she already owes 894 Rand. So now when there's a debit, it means she owes even more money. So when you add these two numbers together, it'll tell us that her new debit amount is that. Now we go to the next row, which is now this one over here, and there's another debit. So now you add this amount to this amount, and it gives you the new amount that we have. Okay, so this tells you how much it is in total. So when we get to this part over here, it's 3,205.51. Then we look at the next line. There is a credit. Okay, so this means that Mrs. Bongiwe made a payment. So this is how much she already owed the people. Then she made a big payment of 3,206 Rand. So if you look carefully, she owes them 3,205, then she pays them 3,206. So she's actually paid a little bit more. So this number should actually become a negative now. Okay, so what you can do is you can say 3,205.51 minus 3,206. And if you work that out, you see, because you must always add the numbers together. But Kevin, now you're minusing. I'll show you what I mean now, guys. So here you say this number plus this number. Then it's this number plus this number. This number plus this number. Then we say this number plus, but it's a minus already. So you just say 3,205.51 plus, but then it's a negative. Okay, fine. A positive and a negative is a negative. So we can just say like that. Okay? But what you're actually doing is you're just always going to say this number plus this number. And then, for example, this number plus this number. Okay? And then here we said this number plus this number, but it was a negative. So we're plussing a negative number, which is just the same as putting a negative. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And so if you had to go work that out, we get negative 0.49. So what that means is they actually owe her 49 cents. So she paid that money like a boss, because now they suddenly, okay, that was really cringy, but suddenly she owed them money, and then she walked in there and she was like, yo, what's up? And she just paid 3,206. She put her glasses on her face, and she walked out that place like she's a champion. Okay? Because now suddenly they owe her money. How much? 49 cents. What up? So we can just go fill in that answer like that. So they owe her money. Okay, this next one says, the total amount due for the invoice is 2,340. We can see that. And that already includes the 15%. Okay, so the VAT is already included. The next question, this question says, calculate the total amount due if you take VAT away. Now remember, if you've watched any of my videos that I have here where I talk about VAT, there's an easy way to do it. Just remember the magic number, 1.15. Okay, some teachers use some really fancy formulas that are just way too complicated. So this is the special number, 1.15. Here's the notes that I always tell you to write down. If you want to add VAT, then you use multiply. If, let's write if properly, Kevin. If you want to remove the VAT, then you divide. Whoa, what is that? Divide. So we already have this amount, and that already has the VAT. So now it says calculate the total amount due without the VAT. So we want to remove VAT, so we divide. So we say 2340.73, and we divide by 1.15, and that'll give us 2,035.42 if you round to two decimal places. So that is the amount without the VAT. So let's just see that we've answered the question. Calculate the total amount without the VAT. Yes, there's the answer. If they then asked you what is the VAT, you could then just say this number minus that number. This question says calculate, rounded to two decimal places, the standard levy for June 2021 as a percentage of the amount due on the statement. Okay, so that might be a little confusing when you read that the first time, but let's just see what they're saying here. So they're saying calculate the standard levy for June 2021. Okay, so for June 2021, there's the standard levy. How much is it? 1,498. You're not going to say this is how much it is, because remember, this number here is just your balance. It's all of these numbers plussed together with all of the plussing like I showed you earlier. But the actual levy amount is this one over here. So that's 1,498 Rand and 63 cents. Now they said calculate the standard, they said round it to two decimal places, the standard levy for June as a percentage of the amount due on the statement. The amount due is this. So you're going to divide these two numbers. Then you're going to multiply by 100 because they asked us for a percentage. Okay, and that would be 64.02%. This question says, write down, and I've added a little bit more now because this annexure actually had a little bit more information, but this wasn't important up until now. So it says, write down a possible payment option that Rango Property Specialist will accept. Okay, so it says here that, you need to pay them. So they said that they do not want you to use cash. Okay, so you could use a check because they said here that all checks are payable to a body corporate. How else could we do it? Okay, so you could do a check And then here you could probably, because they've given you the banking details, you could also do like a EFT. Okay, so we're going to put there EFT, which is like where you just do like a online payment, or you could do a check. Or because they've also given us banking details, you can also use a bank deposit. Okay, but you cannot pay cash. So you cannot rock up there one evening and you whip out your suitcase and you just like show them all the cash. They don't want that, okay? They want the money to be going into their account. This question says that blueberry gardens have 49 units in total. Okay, so remember, this is some type of... it's some type of estate, I guess, and there's 49 units in total. It says calculate the total amount collected by the body corporate if all 49 units pay their levy CSOS on 1 July 2021. So I see there is a 1 July 2021, there's a levy CSOS, and how much is it? 30 Rand and 90 cents. Remember, it's not this amount. These amounts are just the balance of all of this together. So for example, if you have 2044 and then you plus 30.90, then you would end up with 2075. So you're not going to use these numbers when you want to know how much something is. You're looking at these numbers. Okay, so it's 30 Rand and 90 cents, but there's 49 units. So that's going to be paid 49 times by each unit, right? Each unit is going to pay it once. So there will be 49 payments coming in for that amount, because each person is paying 30.90, okay? And that's going to be 1,514 Rand and 10. Whenever it says on your calculator 0.1, you can't leave it like that, so you say 0.10. This question says that the Blueberry Garden Body Corporate increases the levy by 6.45% from 1 August. Okay, so we know that these are all June and July. So for the next month, they're going to increase the levy by 6.45%. Calculate the new levy after the increase. Okay, but it's specifically called the standard levy. So where's standard levy? I see there's a standard levy here. Oh, but there's also a standard levy over here. Oh, but luckily it's the same amount. Okay, so that amount there, whether you choose the one for July or June, is going to be increased by 6.45%. So we can say 1498, or let's first say percent. So you could say 6.45% of, we want to know what is 6.45% of 1498.63. So that'll become 6.45 over 100. Multiply. Okay, and let's work this out. Okay, so they're going to increase it by 96 Rand and 66 cents. So what will the new levy amount be? Well, it's going to be 1498.63. Then we're going to add that to 96.66, and that'll give us, here we go, 1595.29. That is the new levy amount. This question will be broken up into parts. So we've got the first question over here and then a second question on the next page. So Bongiwe has twins. Their names are Sandile and Sakile, who attend a private school. Okay, so we've got the parent Bongiwe, okay? And Bongiwe has twins, and that's Sandile and Sakile. The total fees payable per child for the school year is as follows. So this is per child, okay? Okay, so to go to aftercare, it's either going to be 7,700 Rand for the year or 700 Rand per month. The first child's school fee is this or that if you do it per year, and then a 10% discount will be given to a second child, okay? And then a further 7.5 is given if school fees are paid in full by 31 January, okay? And then the monthly transport cost is 929, but that's going to be per child. So, first question, calculate the total transport costs for the twins for a full school year. Now it's January to November, hey? It's not 12 months that you're at school. It's only going to be 11 months, okay? So we're going to say 11 months. So calculate the transport costs. Well, it's 929 Rand per child, 929 per child. She has 2 children, okay? Now that's going to be for 1 month. But there are 11 months because this is per month, but we want 11 months, so you'd multiply that answer by 11. And if you had to do all this, you should get 20,438 Rand. Okay? That is what the transport cost would be for the twins for the whole year. This question says that Bongiwe intends on paying the school fees in full on 30 January. Okay, so she's going to pay the school fees in full, because then you get, if you pay it before 31 January, you get a 7.5% discount. Now, for 8 marks, determine the total amount of money that Bongiwe will spend in one school year for the twins to attend, including aftercare and transport. Okay, wow. So this is a nice long question. Okay, so remember that aftercare and school fees are not the same thing, okay? So aftercare is going to be 7,700 Rand per school year. There's no discount on that, okay? The discount is only given for school fees. So this is not school fees, this is aftercare. So that's going to be 7,700 Rand per year, but we're going to multiply that by 2 because there's 2 children. And so that's going to be 15,400 Rand. That's for aftercare, okay? There's no discount if you pay early. Okay, now you could have also done the 700 per month, but that would have just been 700 times 11, because there's 11 months, and that would have given you 7,700 anyways, okay? Now, the first child's school fee is going to be 2,000. So let's go do school fees now. School fees. So the first child is going to be 30,000 Rand for the year. So let's just go 30,000 Rand. You could also do per month if you wanted to. But then you would just say 2,793 times 11. I'm just going to do the per year. Okay, now that's for the first child. And then a 10% discount is given on the second child. Okay, so that's going to be for the first child. Now let's see for the second child. So they're going to get a 10% discount. So let's see, what is 10% of 30,723? Well, that'll be 3,072 Rand and 30 cents. That's the discount. So what would the new school fees be for the second child? Well, you could say 30,723 subtract 3072.30, and that'll be 27650.70. Okay, so that is what the second child is going to pay. So the first child is going to pay 30,000, just over 30,000, and the second child is going to pay 27,000. Now, a further 7.5% discount is given if the school fees are paid in full by 31 January. So Bongiwe is going to pay the school fees early, so they are going to get the discount. So let's quickly add up what the school fees would have been. Okay, so we're going to go add up these two numbers. Okay, so school fees is going to be 30,723 plus 27,650.70, and if you work that out, 58,000 Rand, 58,373.70. But now they're going to give a 7.5% discount on that. So let's quickly see what 7.5% of 58,373.70 will be. Okay, it's about 4,300 Rand is the discount. I'm going to round to 2 decimal places. That'll be 0.03. So what will the new school fees be? Well, it's going to be this amount minus the discount. And so that's going to be 58,373.70 minus 4,378.03. Okay, so the school fees for the 2 kids will be 53,995.67. So you see that the aftercare and the transport does not get any discounts, okay? It's only the school fees that are getting a discount. So you got to be careful with that. Okay, so the total amount is now going to be aftercare plus school fees plus transport. Okay, so aftercare, we worked out in the previous question, is going to be, oh no, that was transport. where did we work out? Oh no, aftercare we worked out here, 15,400. Okay. The school fees we've worked out now as 53,995.67, and then the transport costs is 20,438. 20,438. And so if you had to go work out all of that, okay, and you end up with 89,833 rand and 67 cents. With this question, it's going to come in parts. So we've got this first question over here, a second one, and a third one. Okay, so table 2 shows the estimated provincial half-yearly livestock numbers in thousands. Okay, so we must remember that that's in thousands for the 9 provinces in South Africa for August and February. Okay, so let's try to get a good idea of what's going on here. So we've got 3 types of livestock. We've got cattle, sheep, goats. Then, for example, we've got the Western Cape, and in August 2020, we've got 466, and then in February we've got 466. Okay, and then for example we've got Limpopo, and we've got their numbers, and then we've also got the numbers for sheep and for goats. Okay, so I hope you understand how the table works. Now let's go answer their questions. So the first question says, write down the province with the second highest number of sheep for February 2021. So we're going to go to sheep, and we're going to go to February 2021, and we're looking for the second highest. So the highest is the Eastern Cape. If you look carefully, the second largest number is the Northern Cape. So we're just going to say here, Northern Cape. This question says, calculate Eastern Cape's estimated total number of livestock in August 2020. So we're only going to the Eastern Cape now. So we're only looking here. Now they said the Eastern Cape's total number of livestock. So livestock is all of them, cattle, sheep, and goats. And they only want it for August 2020. So it's only allowed to be August of 2020. So that's there, and that's there. So we're going to say 3050 plus 6513 plus 1991. Add that all up. Now, that's going to be 11554. But remember that these numbers are in thousands. Okay? So you could say here 1,000. Or you could just add on the 3 zeros. So it'll be 11554, 123 to show that it's in thousands. This question says that, and it's for 7 marks. Lovely. It says the provincial mean, or that's average, number of sheep is that amount. A farmer in Limpopo stated that the missing value A in the table is less than 200. Verify, showing all calculations whether the farmer's statement is valid. Now, what's a bit weird about this question, which I don't like, is they forget to tell us whether we're talking about August, February 2020. Are they talking about August or February? But I'll help you to break it down. So they are talking about sheep, okay? So we're definitely not going to be looking at cattle, and we're not going to be looking at goats. Then they talk about this value A, and that's in this column here. So they didn't mention it in the question. I think they should have. But we need to be looking at this column over here. Now, they've told us that the average is this. So how do you work out average? Well, to work out average, you usually plus all of these numbers together. Then you divide by how many numbers there are, and that gives you average. So we're going to do that, but in reverse. So we're going to say 240,0444 equals. Now, how would you normally calculate the average? Well, like we just said, you would add all of these numbers together. Now, remember that you need to add 1,000 onto these numbers. So it's going to be 2545,000 plus 5182,000. Okay? And you're going to have to go add up all of those, and you're going to put all of those up at the top here. And then at the bottom, you're going to put a 9, because That's how you work out average. You always add all of the numbers together, and then you divide by how many there are. So I went and I said all of those numbers plus together, and then I'm going to divide all of that by 9. And we know that the final answer, we should be making that equal to this number over here. Okay, but we'll do that just now. What we're going to quickly do is just go add all of this together. Of course, you can't add the plus a. You know the a is also there. But just add all of the other numbers together. Okay, add that all up except the a. Okay, so if you had to go add up all of those numbers, you're going to end up with 2, 1, 4, 0, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. Then we still have the plus a, and then we still have divided by 9. Now we know that the final answer of the average is 2400,444. Now, mathematically, what we have to try and do now is to get this. That is what we are trying to find. So we need to somehow take this, and we need to be able to take this, and we need to be able to take it over to the other side. Now, with practice, you will get better at this, but this number here needs to go first. So, what is currently happening over here? What is this line telling us, this line in the middle? That is a line of divide. So to move this 9 to the other side, you have to use the opposite. So if it was divide, you need to change it to a multiply. So on the left side, you're going to end up with this multiplied by 9. And then you're just going to end up with 21405,000 plus a. Now we need to take this part to the left. So what is currently in the middle over here, or in the front of this sign? It's currently a positive. So when you take it to the other side, it becomes a negative. So you're going to end up with 2400444 multiplied by 9, take away 21405,000 equals a. Go ahead, type this left-hand side on your calculator, and that'll give you 198996. That is the answer for A. And now we just need to answer his question. He said that a farmer in Limpopo stated that the missing value of A is less than 200. Now remember, what does 200 actually mean? 200 means 200,000, because these values are actually 1,000. So he's saying that this value is less than 200,000. What did we just calculate? Oh yeah, we calculated it as 198,000. So his statement is valid. His statement, because he said it's less than 200,000, and it is. So his statement is valid. With this question, I just want to highlight that the questions do carry on. So here we have our first question, a second question, a third question, and a fourth question. South Africa's agriculture sector sales in 2019 amounted to 317.6 billion. Annexure B, which is this over here, shows the distribution of these sales, as well as a further distribution of livestock sales into animals and produce. Okay, so let me explain. This is the agriculture sector. It amounted to 317 billion rand in 2019. Okay, so for example, 20% was field crops, 27% was horticulture, 48% was livestock. Now, what they then did is they took livestock and they broke that up into smaller parts. You see how this only covers livestock. So this is only livestock. Okay, and they broke it up into animals, and they broke it up into produce. Animals, things like cattle, chicken, sheep, other, that's what these are over here, okay? And then produce is the things that come from the animals, chicken meat, milk and cream, eggs, beef, and other. That's what these are for over here. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So the first question says, state whether the data displayed on Annexure B is categorical or numerical. Well, because they're using numbers, okay, so we have 317 billion, and then we've got percentages over here, all these percentages. Because of that, this is definitely numerical. If it was categorical, there wouldn't be any numbers. It would just be names of things, okay, without numbers. This question, for only 2 marks, says determine the missing value of A. So here's A. So the way it works is, you see this big bubble. This big bubble is 25%, and that 25% goes there, 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 and there. Okay, so we can say 2 plus 2 plus 5, so 2 plus 2 plus 5, which is 9, and then we can say 25 minus 9, which is 16. So this would have to be 16%. So this question says, calculate in millions the actual rand value of horticulture sales. So we know that horticulture is 27%. 27% of what? This amount over here. So we could say 317.6 billion multiplied by 27%. So you could say multiply by 27 over 100. And if you work that out, so you can just say 317.6 on your calculator times 27 over 100. And that's going to give you 85,752 billion. But now they want us to change that to millions. So, did you know that 1,000 million is the equivalent of 1 billion? So to go from a billion to a million, you're going to have to multiply by 1,000. So you could say 85,752, multiply that with 1,000, and that'll give 85752 million. This question says, give a valid reason why there is a category for other livestock under animals. Okay, yeah, so here we've got animals, and then you see the different categories here. So here we've got cattle, chicken, sheep, and then there's other. Okay, so there are other livestock. You know, there could be, for example, pigs, and I don't know, goats, and things like that. So they could go break each one into like 0.1%, 0.2%, 0.3%, but it's just going to make this look very busy. So what they do is they just take the least or the lower popular or the least popular animals, like pigs, goats, maybe there's not so many of them, and they just group all of them up into one little category called other. Otherwise, this is just going to become too busy with all these different things that they add on. Okay. This question will carry on. So here's the first question. Then there's a second part, a third part, a fourth part, a fifth part, a sixth part, and then there's a last question. Okay, so this is quite a long question that we're going to be doing. So this first one says that the average monthly retail price for orange juice per liter in Canadian dollars between 2018 to 2021 is shown on the answer sheet. This is it over here. So let's just see what they're talking about here. So, okay, so here this type of line is in 2018. So that would be this one over here. This is 2018, okay? So in 2018, they have January, then they have February, March, April. So that's 2018. You see that? Okay, so that line's 2018. Then we also have a line for 2019, which looks to be this one over here. Then there's a line for 2020, which is just a solid black line. And then there's 2021, which is the one, I don't know, just sort of starts ending, okay? So, hope that makes sense. And then that's just the price in Canadian dollars. Now, the first question says, calculate in Canadian dollars the difference between the price of orange juice in January and February 2019. So 2019 is, okay, so it's got the ... So this is 2019. Let's highlight that for ourselves. Okay, so that's 2019. And they would like us to compare, January and February. Okay, so in January, it's going to be this one over here, which is then going to be 4.3. So January, and that'll be 4.3. Okay, and that's Canadian dollars. Now in February is over here, so you just go there, and that's going to be 4.1. So Feb, 4.1. Now you just need to subtract them because they just want to know the difference, and that'll be 0.2 Canadian dollars. Now technically you never want to leave a price with one decimal like that, so you'd actually just say 0.20 Canadian dollars. This question says, write down the month and the year in which the price of orange juice was at its lowest. Okay, so if you look carefully at the bottom here, the lowest price is this one down here. So what year is that? Well, that is you got to try look at these weird lines and try see which one it looks like. It looks like it's 2018. Okay, write down the month and the year. So and it's the lowest month is in February. So it's February 2018. So we can say February 2018. This question says, state the month and the years in which the price of orange juice was exactly the same. So state the month and years in which the price of orange juice was exactly the same. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so it's actually not too bad. Because if you look at it like this, it's just a mess. But if you look at it from the beginning, so in January, were any of the prices the same? No. So they want to know all of them the same. So was it in February? Nope. Was it in March? Let's see. No, nothing's the same there. Was it in April? No, nothing's the same there. Was it in May? Nope. June? No, none of them are the same there. July? No. August? No. September? No. October? No, none of them are the same there. November, we can see that you can see that both of them are touching over there. You see that? So that's definitely in November. Now, which ones was it? Well, it's this line over here, this weird looking line, which was 2018. And then it's the dotted line, which is 2019. So we could say November 2018 and November 2019. Those two were the same price. You see that? They're both on that point over there. This question says, determine the median. Median means middle. Monthly price of orange juice in 2020. So 2020, let's go get all the different prices. So it's going to be 4.35, 4.39. See, I'm just writing down all of these prices. March is 4.23, 4.27, 4.43, which was May, 4.32, 4.26. See, I'm there. What is this? 4.3, yep. So I'm just going to say 4.30. 4.13. And 4.06. And then, okay, you got to be careful here. What? 4.143. Why are they so specific? 4.143, okay, and then 4.24. So there should be 12. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, good. Because of every month of the year. 12 months. So remember, what is the most important thing when looking at interquartiles like quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, or median? Well done if you remember that the data must be arranged from smallest to largest. So we have to first do that. So smallest would be 4.06. Okay, cross it off. The next biggest one is 4.13. Cross off. Then this one, 4.143. Okay. What's the next smallest one? This one, 4.23. Then this one, 4.24. Then 4.26. 4.27. Okay. Next, 4.30. 4.30. Let's put it over here. Okay, 4.32. 4.35. 4.39. 4.43. Now, to be safe, let's just see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to go find the middle number. So what I like to do is I'm going to cross off from the front and the back. Then I go to the second one and the second last one. You see, I'm counting from the front and the back until I reach the middle. Like that. Then I do this one and this one. this one, and this one. And then I'm left with these two. So we need to, so the middle is obviously going to be somewhere between those two. So we are going to go add those two numbers together and then divide that answer by 2. That is how you find the middle of any two numbers. Okay, and if you had to go do that, you would end up with 4.265. And don't round that off, because if you had to round that up to 4.27, then you rounding it up to that number. So just leave it like that. It's exactly somewhere in between these two numbers. Okay. This question says, describe the trend of the price of orange juice from February 2018 to July 2018. So 2018 is this one over here. Okay. And so the trend from February, so February starts over here, up to July. Where are you, July? There you are. It's quite a solid, can you see the trend? It's increasing, right? It's going up. It's getting more expensive. I mean, but we've got to be careful though. So it did increase there, it increased there, it increased there, it increased there, then it decreased. So we can say that it increased steadily from February to June. It then decreased. It then decreased to July. Okay, this question says that an analyst predicted that the price of orange juice would drop by 0.16 from February 2021 to March 2021. You see, for 2021, we don't have the ending here. So here it goes up to there. That's February. And then this analyst said it would decrease by 0.16. So it would go down a little bit, okay? So it says, determine the year-on-year percentage increase from March 2020 to March 2021. Okay, so we can just use this formula. Very easy. So this is going to be March 2021. They said determine the year-on-year percentage increase from March 2020 to March. So this would be March 2020. Okay? And then this would be March 2020, because that's the old value. The new value is March 2021. The problem is we don't know what the price in March 2021 would be. However, we can use what the analyst said. The analyst said that from February 2021, which is here, at a price of, okay, we don't know the price, but we can read it off. So this is where February 2021 is. The analyst said that it will go down by 0.16 to become March 2021. Okay, so we need to read off this value first. So you see how this works. If this is 4.4 and this is 4.5, then that means this is 4.42, 4.44, 4.46, 4.48, 4.5. So each of these is going up by 0.02. So this would be 4.42, 4.44, 4.46. So that is 4.46. Let's write it here. February 21 is going to be 4.46. Now, if you decrease that by 0.16, then that'll give you March. So you say 4.46, take away 0.16, and that is going to give us 4.30. That is the price in March 2021. Okay? Now, what is March 2020? Because we need that for our formula. March 2020, so 2020 is the solid black line, and in March, it's here. Okay, you see, because that's March. Okay, so it's 4.23, 4.23. Okay, now we just use the formula. So the percentage is going to be the new value of March 2021, which is this, minus 4.23, divided by 4.23, multiplied with 100. And if we had to work this out, it's a 1.65% increase. This question says that the analyst's prediction for the price of orange juice for the rest of the 2021, you see, because 2021, it was pretty awkward. Like, they did January, they did February, and then we don't really have any more prices. So we don't have March, April. So here we've got April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. And I don't know if we're going to need it, but we also have March. Remember, we worked out March in the previous one, which was March 2021, which was 430. Okay, I don't think we'll need that, but you never know. Okay, use the answer sheet to complete the line graph for March 2021, we do need it, to December 2021. Okay, so in March 2021, which is, here's March, it's going to be 4.30, okay, from the previous question. So that'll be over here, okay. And then April, 4.25. April is going to be 4.25. So that's exactly between 4.2 and 4.3. So that's going to be here. Oh, but it's April, Kevin. So there. Okay. In May, 4.28. In May, 4.28. So remember, this is 22, 24, 26, 28. So May would be there. Okay. June, 4.3, which is the same as 4.30. So that's going to be there. July, 4.05. So July, 4.05. 4.05 is the number that is exactly between 4.1 and 4. So 4.05 would be, and that is for what month again? July. So that would be there. Okay. August, 4.35. August, 4.35. Which is exactly between 4.4 and 4.3. And that's for August. Okay. September, 4.2. There. October, 4.15. 4.15 is exactly between 4.1 and 4.2, and that is for October, so that would be over there. And then November, 4.27. November, 4.27. So 27 is going to be between 2.6, which is this line over here, 4.26, and 4.28. So it would be in between, so it would be there. Okay, that is November. And then December is 4.2, so it's there. Okay, and then we just need to go complete the dots. Just stick to their little format that they've used there. Now, you'd obviously have a ruler and a test. I don't have a ruler, so I'm just going to do my best. So you'd use a ruler between each dot. Okay, and then this one goes there, and then up, and then down, and there, up, and then down. Okay. So with this question, it says that John considers moving from Toronto, which is in Canada, to either Cape Town or Ekurhuleni in South Africa. Annexure C, which I'm going to show you on the next slide, okay, on Annexure C, shows a comparison of the water tariffs. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Now, here's the question again, and here's the annexure. Now, what I wanted to show you, just because I needed to save space, if you look on your own annexure, there was a residential part, and then underneath this table, there was a second part, which was industrial. Okay, we are not going to be using the industrial part because industrial is only it's where industrial is where you do business. But this person is just looking at like it sounds here that it's not about his business. It's more about his it's where he lives, and so that's going to be a residential. So I ignored that bottom part, which is wrong of me, but it's just to save space, okay? So we're not going to be looking at the business or the industrial or the commercial, whatever they called it, okay? We're only looking at the residential. All right. Now, we know that John says he will use an average of 45 kiloliters of water every single month. John says that if he chooses to live in Cape Town, he will pay 3,600 Rand more per year compared to a person who lives in Ekurhuleni, who also uses an average of 45. Show by means of calculations if John is correct. Okay, so let's quickly see this. If John... let's just say if John lives in Cape Town. Okay, so let's just say Cape Town. Okay, how much would John pay for water if he lives in Cape Town? So we're going to block off the rest of this table. John lives in Cape Town, and what is his monthly use going to be? Well, it says 45 kiloliters. Okay. So remember the way that these tables work. So John is at 45 kiloliters. So that's more than 35. But that doesn't mean you're just going to go straight to here. No, the way that these tables work is you're first going to say, okay, when John first opens the tap at the beginning of the month, he's still going to be, think about if it's a brand new month. Let's say it's the month of February, for example, okay? When John first starts opening the tap to use water, maybe he's running a bath, okay, or a shower, his water usage is going to be very low at the beginning of the month. So they're only going to charge him in this first bracket, okay? So how much water is he allowed to use in this first bracket? He can use 6 kiloliters. So for that 6 kiloliters, he will be charged 15 rand and 10 cents rand per kiloliter. So he's allowed to use up to 6 kiloliters over there. So 6 kiloliters multiplied by 15.10. Okay, that is how much he would use in this one. But then John, he's been, maybe he's in February now, and he's been having a shower every single day, and suddenly it's the 7th of February, and he's going more than 6 kiloliters. Now all of a sudden he's moving into this one over here. Now how much water is he allowed to use in that one? Well, that is all the way from 6 up to 10.50. So what is 10.50 minus 6? That'll give you 4.50. So John is allowed to use 4.5 kiloliters inside this one, and he'll be charged that amount over there. So we can say plus 4.50 multiplied by 20 rand and 75. You see, John's being a little bit naughty. He's starting to use more water now, and so what happens is he's starting to pay more per liter. You see how it becomes more expensive per kiloliter as you go. Alright, now maybe John has been enjoying a lot of showering during the month, and he's been watering his garden every single night. So suddenly he's going further than 10.50. Suddenly John is inside this category over here, where he's allowed to go all the way from 10.5 up to 35. So how many kiloliters is he allowed to use there? Well, if you say 35 minus 10.5, that'll be 24.5. Okay, so he's allowed to use 24.5 kiloliters over there, and for every kiloliter that he uses there, wow, it's getting expensive now. He's going to pay 28 rand and 20 cents. Now, John's been using his shower, he's been having a few baths. Sometimes he baths in the morning, showers in the evening. He even offered to wash his friend's car the other day using his own hose pipe. And so suddenly John finds himself using even more than 35 kiloliters. So now he's not even inside this one anymore. Now he's moving into this one over here. And so he's going to go all the way from 35 all the way up to 45. So what is 45? Take away 35, that's 10. So John is going to use 10 kiloliters inside this category over here. Okay, so John's really wanting to pay a lot of money for water this month. So for every kiloliter there, you pay 52 rand. Wow, it's expensive. So 52.04. And so if we go work out how much John's going to pay, let's see. So you can just say 6 times 15.10 plus 4.50 times. You're just going to go type this all on your calculator. Okay, it's going to be 1,395 rand. If we round that to 2 decimals, it's going to be 0.28. Now, another thing we have to keep in mind is that in Cape Town, you see there is a fixed monthly cost. Some places don't have that. For example, eThekwini, eKhoshaleni doesn't have it, but Johannesburg does. Cape Town does have it. It's 104 rand and 50 cents. That is your fixed monthly cost. So we're going to have to add that on. So 1395.28. We're going to add on 104 rand 50. That's a monthly cost. And if we work that out, that's going to be 1499.78. And that'll be per month. But now, because John said earlier that he will pay 3,600 more per year, we need to work out what this would be per year. So we could say 1499.78 multiplied by 12. And that's nearly 18,000 rand. It's 17,997.36. Okay, so that's Cape Town. That's how much Cape Town will cost per year. Now we need to go check eKoshaleni. So in eKoshaleni, there is no fixed monthly cost, so we can just go straight into the table. So John is still going to use 45 kiloliters of water, because it says here living in eKoshaleni, who also uses an average of 45. So we know how these tables work now. In the first 0 to 6, you're going to be charged 13 rand, and 13 rand 50 per kiloliter. So we can say that 6 multiplied by 13.5, because if you use anywhere between 0 and 6. Now, the next category goes from 6 all the way to 15. So if you go from 6 all the way to 15, how much water is that? Well, that would be 9 kiloliters, right? So we're going to say plus 9 kiloliters multiplied by 22.24. Okay, and then we say plus. The next category goes from 15 to 30. So 15 to 30. So how much water is that? Well, if you go from 15 to 30, that's 15. So you could say 15, and for there you pay 27 rand and 24 cents per kiloliter. Okay, and then plus. And then the next category goes from 30 to 45. So if you go from 30 to 45, how many kiloliters is that? Well, that's 15 kiloliters. And then how much do you pay there? 33 rand 90. Okay, and if you had to go work all of that out, you end up with 1198.26, but that's per month. So we need to work that out as a year. So you just multiply that by 12, and that's just over 14,000 rand, 14,379.12. So that is how much eKoshaleni would be per year, and this is how much Cape Town would be per year. Now, John says, so Cape Town is more expensive, but John says that it would be 3,600 rand more. So let's see if he's correct, or maybe he's being a little bit dramatic. So if we now say 17,997.36, take away 14,379.12, if we go work that out, oh, he wasn't being dramatic. It's 3618.24. So he's saying that he'll be paying 3,600 rand more per year. Yeah, he's pretty accurate. Okay, now I think John was pretty accurate. He said that he'll pay 3,600 rand more, but this is 3618. So I checked on the memo, and the memo said that he is incorrect. So they wanted John to be perfectly correct, okay? So John said 3,600, but this is more than 3,600. So we're going to unfortunately have to say that John is incorrect. Even though he's so close, it wasn't perfect, okay? Come on, John, you could have known better, man. So, John, you are incorrect. The first thing I want to mention here is that this question will come in parts. So this is our first question. Then there's a second part over here. And then this one comes into 3 different parts. So there's going to be a part 1, a part 2, and then lastly, a part 3. So with this first part, it says that Shamila is a teacher at a local high school, is going on retirement. The estimated value of her pension is going to be, 3.4, so it's about 3.4 million rand, okay, because she's going on retirement, and she's obviously been putting money aside into a pension fund since she was like 21 years old. I don't know. She has 2 options to consider. Option number 1, she can take a third of the pension fund, so she can have a third, or she can take all of it, okay? So, can I explain something to you guys quickly? Because I also like to, I don't just want to show you how to do the question, I also want to help you with life. So the way that it works when you retire, I've never been there before, but I've read a lot and I know quite a bit about the stuff. So when you retire, let's say you're 65 years old, okay? And let's say you have 3 million rand, okay? 3 million. Let's just say 3 million. I'm not going to say 3,457,000. Let's just say you have 3 million rand. Now, you are at the age of 65, right? Now, that is your money. So you can tell them, yo, what's up? I've arrived at 65. I have 3 million rand in my pension fund. I would like you to give all of it to me. Okay, so they send all of that money, you get a notification on your phone, boom, and then you check your inbox and you have 3 million rand extra. Now, the problem with that is that 3 million rand has to last you for probably 20 years, okay? Let's say you live to 85 years old. Now, if you don't use your money wisely, you could blow that 3 million rand really quickly, okay? We've heard of people who have done this. The better thing to do is to only take a small amount. So maybe you take $1 million. You take $1 million, you go on a nice holiday, and you use the rest of the money wisely. So then, Kevin, what do you do with the other 2 million rand? Well, that's a good question. So what you do is you take that other 2 million rand and you put it back into some type of investment, and you let that 2 million rand carry on growing, because you don't need to use that 2 million rand right now. You can let it grow in an investment, and so you're going to make your 3 million rand in total, you're going to make it last for much longer, instead of just taking the 3 million rand and then just using it. You can rather take $1 million. That's still a lot of money. You could use it for a long time, and then the other 2 million rand, you leave it in some type of investment, and you just keep letting it grow, so it lasts much longer, and so it's going to be much easier to last you until like your age of 85, for example. I hope that makes sense. So one day when you retire, don't just take all of it and just put it in your bank account. Rather take a little bit and then take the rest and go invest it. Maybe go buy some properties or invest it on the stock market, or do what you got to do, but invest it. Okay, so this question over here says, well, let's first understand what they're saying here. So that's her investment. Option 1, withdraw a third. So a third of it would be just a little bit more than $1 million, and then the other option is withdraw all of it. Okay. Table 4 indicates the tax payable on retirement benefits. Retirement benefit tax table. Okay, so this first question says, write out Shamila's full pension fund in words. Okay, so, geez, that's a long one. So, 3,457,920. This question says, determine the amount of money that Shamila can withdraw if she chooses option 1. So with option 1, she's going to withdraw a third. What does a third mean? A third means a third, 1/3. So you need to work out what is 1/3. 1/3 of 3,457,920. Did you know of means times? So we can just say times. Okay, and if we had to go work this out, and so that's going to be 115,2640. That's how much money she will withdraw in option number 1. Okay, so this one now says that, so this question here says, Shamila decides to choose option 2 as she wants to loan money to her daughter, Saraya, who intends on relocating to New Zealand. Okay, so she's going to take option number 2. She needs all of the cash because she wants to give some of it to her daughter. Okay, so Shamila states that the amount of tax she will pay on the value of her pension. Okay, guys, did you know, this is quite crazy, but when you get to retirement one day and you know how much money she had, 3.4 million, that money is going to be paid into her account, right? Remember I told you earlier that if you choose option 2, they are going to pay all of that money into your account. Guess what? The tax man is going to see that. They're going to look on your bank statement and they're going to be like, oh, 3.4 million rand just got paid into that account. Guess what? You're going to pay tax on that. So you got to be careful there. So it says here that Shamila states that the amount of tax that she'll pay on her pension fund is going to be more than 1 million rand. How crazy is that? Verify showing all calculations whether she is correct. Okay, so this lady is going to earn 3.4 million rand. So where does that put her? Does that put her into here? Or here? No, guys, of course it puts her into this one. She's earning a lot of money. So how much tax is she going to pay? She's going to pay 130,500 rand. Plus 36% of all of the money above 105,000. So we need to go work out how much extra that would be. So we can say, so we need to know how much extra or how much more does she have above this amount. So we can say 3,457,920 take away 105,000, and if we had to go work that out, that's going to be 240,7920. 240,7920. Okay, so she's going to pay 36% of that. So 36% multiplied by that 240,7920. Because remember, she pays 36% of her income that is above that amount. So how much above how much above how much more how much more does she have than this value over here? Well, that's this value here, and that's why I've put this over there. Now 36%, you can change that to 36 over 100. And now if you had to go work this out, I really hope this lady's not going to be paying so much tax. That's crazy. Oh, I think it's going to be more, guys. Oof, nearly a million. Nearly a million. That's crazy. So 997. Ooh, 997, Kevin, not 999. 997. 351.20. Okay, so there it is, 997,351.20. So she states that the amount of tax is more than $1 million. So is she correct? No, she's actually incorrect. So we can say she is incorrect. This part says that the ratio of the estimated value, the ratio of the estimated value of Shamila's full pension to her daughter's loan amount is that. Okay, so this is her estimated value of her full pension and the daughter's loan amount. Okay, so the ratio is about 9.8 to 1. So she's not giving her daughter everything. Thank goodness. She's giving her daughter a certain amount. So it says determine to the nearest 1,000 Rand the amount that her daughter will borrow. Okay, so it says that for every one part of the loan, then that'll be So what this is trying to tell us, guys, is that the value of Shamila's pension is going to be 3.4 million, okay? And then the daughter's loan is going to be 1. So the loan is going to be the much larger amount, okay? So to work out what she's going to be giving her daughter, you're going to say 3457920, and you're going to divide it by 9.8798. 9.8798. Okay? Because the pension fund is 9.8 times larger than the loan. So to work out the loan, we're going to divide. Okay? Okay, now they said, now this is going to give us 34998.99 if you round that. But they said to the nearest 1,000. So that could either go to 350,000, or it could go to 349,000. So which one is closer? Well, this is nearly on 350,000, so that's definitely the closest one. And so that is the loan amount that she's planning to give to her daughter, Soraya. Okay, that is the amount over there. Okay, so let's just remember from that previous question, the loan amount is going to be 350,000. So Soraya, who's the daughter, agrees to borrow the money at a simple interest rate. Wow, this family's rough. They're going to charge each other interest. I mean, I guess maybe that's a good thing. This mom isn't taking any nonsense. She's not going to just give you the money. You think she worked her whole life as a teacher just to be able to give it to you like that? No. You're going to pay interest, my darling. Okay. So I just went on my full-on conversation there. So Soraya agrees to borrow the money at a simple interest rate of 7.8% per annum. Okay. She intends to repay the total amount with interest at the end of a 3-year period. Determine the total amount that she'll have to repay. So, guys, here's a quick question for you. Is she going to repay her mom 350,000? Option A. Or is she going to repay more than 350,000 or less? Well, her mom would be stupid to make her pay less, and it would be silly to ask her to pay the same amount. Of course, she's going to pay her mom back more. That's why her mom's lending her the money. It's a little bit of a business, you see. So we need to work out how much she's going to be paying back her mom. So remember, you get two types of interest. You get simple interest and compound interest. This one is simple interest. This one's really easy to work with because all you need to do is just say 7.8%. Then you can just multiply that by 350,000. Okay, now that would normally be for 1 year, but because it's simple interest, we can just multiply by 3 because it's for 3 years. If the question said compound interest, then you would have to go do the long calculation where you would have to first go work out for 1 year, and then you would get the new amount, and then you would have to do the second year, get the new amount, do the third year, and so on, okay? But when it's simple interest, you can just do everything in one big step. Okay, make sure you understand the difference between compound and simple. So if we had to go work this out, you're going to end up with 81,900. So that is the extra, that's the extra penalty or interest that she's going to have to pay her mom. So how much money is she going to have to pay her mom back? She's going to have to give her mom the original amount, of course, and then she's going to have to give her mom a little bit extra. You see that sneaky mom? She's making some good money off her daughter here. So, if we had to go add this up, it's going to be 431,900. That is how much she's actually going to give her mom back. So the first thing I want to mention with this question is that it comes in parts. So this is the first part, and then there's a second part. So Ruya has established that the cost of relocating a family of 4 people to New Zealand is going to be 280,000 Rand. Her husband is an entrepreneur and wants to start his own business. So Ruya, who is a teacher, would need a skilled migrant resident visa, while her husband will need an entrepreneur's visa. A skilled migrant resident visa, so that's the one that Saruya is going to need because she's a teacher, is going to cost 2,093 euro. Okay. And a visa for entrepreneurs, who's the husband, that's going to be for the husband, that one costs 4,745 New Zealand dollars. Okay. Table 5 shows the exchange rates. Determine the exchange rate of the New Zealand dollar in terms of the euro on 3 September 2021 in the form of 1 New Zealand dollar. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start here with 1 New Zealand dollar, and the only thing we know about that is that it gives us that. So we can say that 0.0969907 New Zealand dollars is the equivalent of 1 rand or 1 ZAR. Okay? Now 1 ZAR is the same as this many euros. So we can just say that that's equal to 0.0581765, and that is in euros. Okay, so then we can just ignore this ZAR that's in the middle and just say that these two are equal to each other. Does that make sense? Because this one is equal to 1 ZAR, but this one's also equal to 1 ZAR. So then that means that these two parts are equal to each other. Okay, so they are equal to each other. Now, they would like us to get it to 1 New Zealand dollar. Yeah, I'm going to write it like that rather. NZD. Okay, so we need to get this to 1 New Zealand dollar. So how do I turn this number into a 1? Well, that's easy. I just divide it by itself. Now, in maths, what you do to the one side, you have to do to the other side. So we're dividing both sides by 0.0969907, and this will become 1, so that's 1 New Zealand dollar. And then if you go divide this, and if you round that off. Okay, now we're not going to round off the answers because, I mean, if you look at all of these tables, you know, they don't round off these values. So we can just say 599.81524, and that's going to be euro. So I should probably say here euro. What's the symbol for that again? Oh yes, this funny thing here. Okay, so 1 New Zealand dollar will give you 0.599. Okay, so that's going to give us, let's just put the euro symbol, that's going to be 0.599.815 24. Okay, now this question says, calculate, rounded to the nearest 100, the total cost of the 2 visas that they will require. Okay, so we're going to buy 2 visas here. We are going to buy a skilled migrant visa. So let's go do that one first. Skilled migrant visa. Now the cost of a skilled migrant visa is going to be 2,093 euros. So we know from the table here that 1 ZAR is equal to this many euros. Okay, so let's go write that conversion down. 0.0581765 euro is the same as 1 rand. So what we need to do now is quickly try and get this to become a 1. How do we get that to become a 1? Well, you just divide it by itself. That is how you get something to become a 1. And in mathematics, what you do to the one side, you must do to the other side. 81765. Okay, so if you divide these two, you're going to end up with 1 euro on that side. And then if you had to go divide that on the right hand side, so you say 1 over 0.0581765, don't round off, you're going to end up with 17.18907.119 ZAR. Okay, so think about this carefully, guys. We've got 1 euro is the same as 17.18 rand. So if you have 2,093 euros, how much rand would that be? Well, you can then say 2,093 multiplied by 17.18907.119, and that would be 35,000 rand. It's expensive. 35,976.73 rand. Now they said round it to the nearest 100. So we can say that'll be 36,000 rand if you round that to the nearest 100. Okay, so that is for the migrant, the skilled migrant resident visa, and then the one for the entrepreneur was the 4,745 New Zealand dollars. Okay, so skilled entrepreneur. And so that one is 4,745 New Zealand dollars. So let's quickly go write out their exchange rate. So we know that 0.0969907 New Zealand dollars is the same as 1 ZAR. So we need to go see what is 1 New Zealand dollar. So how do I turn this to a 1? Well done if you said that you just divide by the same thing. Excellent job. Well, thank you, Kevin. You're very, very friendly, very kind. So what you do in mathematics, you have to do to the other side, 0.0969907. And so what you'd find is that 1 New Zealand dollar is going to be the same as 10.31026,686 ZAR. So think about that. For every 1 New Zealand dollar, it's about 10 rand. So if you have this many New Zealand dollars, how much rand would that be? Well, you can just say 4745 multiplied by 10.31026,686. And if you do that, this one's even more expensive. So 21625. Okay, now we're going to round that to the nearest 100. So that would become 48,900 rand. Okay, if you round that to the nearest 100. Now, they want to know what is it going to be for the 2 visas together. So it's going to be 36,000 plus 48,900. So 36,000 plus 48,900. And if you had to go work that out, you're going to end up with 84,900 rand. This question will come in parts. So here's the first part, and then there's a second part. So the graphs on Annexure D, which is these ones over here, Graph A, Graph B, represents the monthly exchange rate of the Chinese yuan and the US dollar from July 2020 to December 2020. Okay, so what's the difference between these two things? So this one says the monthly exchange rate of Chinese yuan to US dollar from July 2020 to December. July to December. This one's also July to December. They're both 2020. It's pretty much the same graph, but I see what they're doing. If you look at this graph, here they're showing you all the way between 0 and 7, but it's a lot of wasted space. I mean, look at this. You can't really see the difference, right? But here they're just starting it at 6 and 7, so you can see how the action is really going down. Whereas here, you can't really see much. You see what I mean? Because all of this up to here is the same. The only difference is if you look carefully. But here, when they change it from 6 to 7, you can see it more clearly. But it's exactly the same graph, just shown slightly differently using different axes. Okay, so the first question says, state with a reason which graph a Chinese citizen would use to explain that his country's currency is strengthening against the US dollar over the 6-month period. Okay, so we have to understand carefully what's showing here. It says here exchange rate in the Chinese yuan per dollar. So what it means is how much Chinese currency do you need to buy 1 US dollar? Okay? So if you look over here on this graph, does this make China look more strong or more weak? Well, think about it carefully. In July, you have to give 7 Chinese currencies to be able to get 1 US dollar. So you have to give 7 Chinese currency for 1 US dollar. Then in December, you only have to give like 6.50 or 6.40. So in December, you only have to give, you can give less Chinese currency and you can still get 1 US dollar. So think about that carefully. Does that make China look more strong or more weak as you go from July to December? Now, I know it's going to be 50-50 what some of you say, but you've got to think about this carefully. In July, if you live in China, you have to give 7 of your currency and you will get $1. Okay? In December, you don't even have to give $7 Chinese currency, you only have to give 6.40. So because you have to give less of your currency to get $1, it means your currency is actually becoming stronger because you don't have to give as much to get $1. So whereas if you look at this one, it doesn't really look that good for China. It almost looks like it's not changing. It seems like it's just staying 777. If you look carefully, you might see that it's going down. But to most people who look at this quickly, you're going to say, China's actually not getting that strong because it just stays the same. But if you look carefully over here, we can see that China is becoming stronger. So I would definitely, if I was a Chinese person and I was trying to show that China is becoming stronger, I would use this one. So state with a reason which graph. I would use graph A, definitely. And then I would just say, so we can just say that the y-axis has been manipulated to show a steeper decline. Okay, you can see that it looks much better compared to this one. Okay, so they manipulated the y-axis, you see, compared to that. Okay, so here's this one over here. This question says the same set of data was used to draw graph A and graph B. Agreed. We already spoke about that. We said that it's actually the same values. They're just using different y-axis to make it look different. And they do this in real life, by the way. They try to confuse the public sometimes by using a weird looking y-axis. Like here they'll say, oh look, China is not getting any stronger. And then on this one, in the Chinese newspaper, they could be like, oh look how powerful China is becoming. But it's actually the same data, but they just manipulate it by changing the numbers or what they want to show. So the same set of data, give a valid reason why the graphs look different. We can just say that a different scale was used on the y-axis. A different scale has been used on the y-axis.